All right, and welcome back to the Blue Review. What a weekend, everybody. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here. But, I mean, before we do anything, actually, I feel like we all had some busy weekends. Greg, I know
We
you went
did.
out, traveled a little bit. Greg, there you are. Marcus, I know
Oh,
you had some.
nicely done.
Thank you. I'm a mere expert now. Marcus, you had some good family time, I heard. So let's just start here. Greg, how was the weekend out in the desert?
In the desert. I was at Joshua Tree, and it was really, really nice. I was sick all last week. I mean, that's why I was at home for the couple of those days, and then I didn't actually start feeling better until Saturday morning, which is kind of crazy. But it was really nice once we got out there. Went into the park, did a bunch of things. It was really, really nice and relaxing. And back here on a Monday, Marcus, ready to go.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. Like I said, I was fortunate on Thursday. My kid, he graduated from preschool. Next stop, kindergarten for him. Thank you. And then on Friday, we took a class trip to Disneyland. So we spent literally all day at the Magic Kingdom, to the point that Saturday was pretty much just a recovery day. And then by Sunday, we started to, kind of feel back into ourselves again.
That sounds like a really fun time being at Disneyland with a bunch of preschoolers, but not for anybody else that's not a part of that.
Yeah, sorry to anybody else who was there on Friday. That wasn't part of our group. The weird group wearing the light blue T-shirts. If you weren't with us, sorry about that.
Yeah.
What's your boy's favorite ride? If you don't,
the Jungle Cruise. He's big into animals. He loves the Jungle Cruise. I have to keep him from jumping out of the boat when he sees the elephants. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I love the Jungle Cruise. What were you doing, Parker? Real fast.
I don't even know how much I can get into, really, but let's just say I had a fun Saturday.
Wild.
Fun Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for anyone tuning into the Blue Review who was also tuned into Sedano and Cap Friday night, you may know what was going on Saturday. So you can listen back. But let's just say producer DeAndre may have set me up, and it was a good date.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Good for you.
All
Good
right.
for you.
Good
for you, Parker.
And of course, a whole bunch of Dodgers baseball.
Yeah.
So Dodgers win the series 3-1 over the Reds. We know how Thursday went. The Ellie De La Cruz show went down. I reacted on Friday, but we have not reacted to Friday through Sunday, so we're going to do that on this episode. Well, before we do, actually, I want to remind everyone that the Blue Review is presented by LAX and our friends at Los Angeles International Airport. Of course, over there, they have changes arriving daily, reducing traffic, saving guests time, and all that great stuff. Sedano's home away from home, as we say here at the station, and Greg, Parker's home away from home. So if you want to learn more, you can find it out at flylax.com/transforminglax. So, guys, Ohtani had a special weekend, and I want to start there. The man just got a holiday in LA and then went ahead and homered and walked it off on Sunday. Marcus, just overall, the weekend that you saw from Ohtani, the way that he's hitting, things are kind of getting even better. I didn't know that can happen. What are you seeing so far from Otani?
That was wild. Dave Roberts saying, I think he's becoming a better hitter, which is maybe the scariest words that somebody could say right now. If you are an opposing pitcher, those are the last things you want to hear. I think it was great. A friend of mine actually tweeted that, there was the photo of him, getting the honor for it being Shohei Ohtani Day. And he tweeted and said, Ohtani is an angel for 7 years. Nothing happens. He's a Dodger for 6 weeks and are already declaring a holiday after him in the city. I think in some ways he is getting to be a better hitter. I do see, and again, I get it. We sort of nitpick on this show, right? There are moments when it feels like he's kind of pulling off the baseball a little bit, like he's kind of opening up a little bit quickly. But I will completely admit to you that is all a nitpick over a guy who's still hitting 340, 350, somewhere around there, is among the league leaders in home runs and RBIs, is doing everything as well or better than we could have anticipated. So it was great. And then to see him cap off the weekend with a walk-off RBI single. I don't know what they call it. I guess they called it a single in the end. And Greg, the three of us were texting over the weekend. Wild to think that is only his second career walk-off hit. That to me was mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. So I saw that. So I was driving back from the desert when that happened, and it came on the screen, and it said one career walk-off hit. And underneath it, there was a bunch of writing. It was too small, and I was driving. I couldn't tell what it was saying. But the fact that that was his second career walk-off hit just seems very, very odd. I don't know if that's something about him or about the Angels themselves that they can't get to a point where he can get a walk-off hit, because that's how bad they've been.
I suspect it's
a little both.
Probably a little both. Like I think some of it was just the Angels not putting him in position, but also I got the sense, and obviously we'd have to go back and look, but if I were another team and Ohtani was up with a chance to beat me, I probably would have put him on. Like I probably wouldn't have given him the opportunity. Like, if I could get around him and get around Trout, I feel better about attacking the other 7 guys in that order. So that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, but this one, this one was an extra, so you really couldn't do much about it at that point. But still, like, it's really good to see that he can come through in those situations. I remember sitting there and I was like, all right, we paid you $700 million. These are the types of things you got to do. And he came through it. It was great. What the biggest thing over this weekend, Marcus, I don't know if you agree, that I really find interesting was that Elly De La Cruz on Thursday was phenomenal. He was like 4 for 4. He had 4 stolen bases. He was just taking over the game every single time. Every time he came, thanks Parker for that. every time he came up to the plate, I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to do something again. And he felt like he was coming up every single inning because he was just turning over the lineup. After that, he was shut down completely.
Yep.
He went 0 for 13 with 8 strikeouts and did absolutely nothing, including being left on second base in extra innings on yesterday. So they did a very good job of shutting him down and being like, he swings at everything. Don't put anything in the strike zone. And they did it. I thought that was really, really interesting on my side.
No, LA is no longer his city.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not LA, whatever. Anyway, I thought that was interesting too, because you're right. He was the show on Thursday night with everything he did, and the fact that he was nowhere really to be found. I thought one spoke to how they sort of adjusted to him over the course of the series, but I also sort of think it speaks to kind of who De La Cruz is as a player. Because, remember when he first came up, he was the talk of baseball. Like every day you were checking the highlight shows or checking social media to see what did Elly De La Cruz do. And then after about a month or so, once more tape got out, once, he had kind of been around a little bit, you started to see more pitchers adjust to him, and you kind of saw the holes in his swing, the places that the teams could get him out. And so I don't know if maybe the Dodger pitching staff forgot about that on Thursday night, or if it just happened to be a night where, they just were missing spots. I'm not sure what it was, but he torched them that night. After that, as you mentioned, but he didn't get a hit the rest of the series and was really a non-factor for the rest of the series. So, I thought that was absolutely great, because really you shut down De La Cruz and it's hard for the Reds to generate any offense. I mean, they were able to get some runs here and there, but it's hard for them to consistently generate offense if he's not the guy sparking in the rally.
Right, because he's the dude that he's stealing every base. When he was on second base yesterday in extra innings, and I was like, oh man, now he's on second base. He's going to steal third, and he's going to come home at any point. And they were talking about it on the broadcast too. It was a mistake for whoever the next batter was that he swung at the first pitch instead of letting it go by, because it stopped De La Cruz from trying to steal that third base, and that kind of all of a sudden just started a spiral right there from there, and he didn't move. So they did a great job there. He is the engine for that team.
Shout out to Anthony Banda, by the way. I mean, it's a hell of a way to make your Dodger debut in that situation.
Everybody that makes their Dodger debut this year, they just go and they're like, hey, zeros for you. And now, because you did so well, go back down to AAA.
Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, hey, Landon Knack got to come back up and did solid. He gave a good amount of innings, and I don't even know if they necessarily had to take him out when they did, but that's not really a conversation for here now. But
he had a couple guys on base, and his pitch count was going up in that fifth inning. So it was about time. That was something that Dave Roberts did well. He went out there when they needed to pull him out, and they pulled him out instead of letting it get in trouble.
I like that. So Saturday, we haven't really talked about that one. Walker Buehler, guys, of course, he went for 6 innings, 7 Ks, looked like vintage Walker. Now, I know that before the show, we were kind of talking about it. Maybe there's some scuttlebutt around the league of whether he will be vintage Walker or he won't be. So I kind of want to get your guys' opinions on what you saw Saturday and how you feel about whether or not that was really him bringing back the velo and looking good, some adjustments he's made, with the whole foot on the mound. He used to have his whole foot on the mound, or sorry, just his toes. Now he has his whole foot on the mound, and he kind of fixed that command issues. So I want to ask you, Greg, specifically on Saturday from Walker Buehler, are you impressed, or do you think he could still do a little more?
So I was very impressed. I thought that was something that he's becoming the guy that you were kind of hoping he would be. And he said after the game too, that he thinks that he could be a pitcher that can live in that, I think it was 94 to 96 range. So he's bringing the velo down to a place that he can control the pitch as opposed to going back up into that 96, 98 range where he doesn't have as much control. And he was getting smacked around with that. So if he brings his velo down just a little bit and can be more of a pitcher, then that's exactly what he needs to be, because they are going to need him. It's not about him just blowing guys away. It's about realizing how to pitch, hit spots, and be an efficient pitcher. And that's what he was on Saturday. So yeah, I thought it was absolutely great. And hopefully that's something that can continue.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you on that. I don't think he's going to be the Walker Buehler we saw a couple of years ago. Like, I just don't think that's possible. I mean, after you've had a couple of major arm surgeries, I just don't think that's the way it's going to be. And so I think, to your point about not throwing quite as hard. Look, I mean, he's still throwing 94 to 96, right? That's plenty of gas right there. But he's not going to be the guy that we saw, back in like 2018, who, when he gets into trouble, is just going to fire fastballs past the opposition. I think that guy is over. But I do think that he can become more of a pitcher. I think he has it in him. I think he has the stuff there. Reading just some articles about him, like, LA Times, Athletic, whatever. I think one of the things he said was sort of half jokingly, he's like, now I actually have to listen to what people are saying, right? That basically I have to learn to take instruction, to take coaching, because I can't be that same guy. And so I think what we saw from him over the weekend was a guy who's starting to understand that, the guy that was throwing 98, 99 early in his career, that guy's probably gone now. And so you are going to have to learn to pitch. And look, there's no better place, I think, to be than where he is right now, to have a guy like Mark Pryor as his pitching coach, to have a guy like Clayton Kershaw. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who's gone through an evolution over the course of his career as a pitcher. It's Clayton Kershaw. Have a guy like that to sort of lean on and help you sort of make that transition, because, I think that's where he is. And again, we've said this before, he has the luxury of not having to rush back and being the number one guy. They've got Glass now. They've got Yamamoto. So if he can come back and just give them starts like they gave him on Saturday, 6, no walks, minimize the guys on base, I think there's a good long future in there for him.
I think you said something really, really important there too, is that I have to listen to the guys now, because that's what he wasn't. That's what we were talking about in his last start, when we were talking about him, that we just think this is who he's going to be because he doesn't listen to people. That's why he was trying to come back September 1st, why he was trying to get back for the playoffs last year, trying to force himself back into spring training and couldn't make it back. All of those things, hi Beto, all of those things were certain that he was trying to, he was not listening. And now that he has to and become more of a pitcher, if that becomes his mindset, if that is something that he can change, then yes, he can very much be not the guy that he was before, but almost on a better level than he was before, because you can blow your guys away as much as you want. Eventually they're going to catch up to it. Hitting 100 miles an hour for these guys is like hitting 90 back in 10, 20 years ago. So it's not hard for them to hit that anymore. It's tough, but it's still not. It's the same thing. So I just it's great that he's becoming more of a pitcher and listening to the people that it want. Another guy, and I'm jumping on you here, Parker. I'm sorry. I'm all fired up from being gone for so long.
Yes, I love
is that another guy that he's kind of like right now is Alex Vezina, who had to change who he was, right? He had to change the type of pitcher he was. He was just trying to blow the fastball by guys, and he was trying to be a power reliever, and he really fed off of that. He has been fantastic. I know he walked in a guy, I think it was yesterday, but I know he walked in a guy to tie the game. It was yesterday to walk it in. But that, overall, he got out of that inning with basically unscathed. That was really, really nice. And not only that, he came in the next inning and continued to do well and got through that next inning. I give it up to Alex Vezina. I know that's a rare thing for me to say, but I am willing to do that because he has been phenomenal ever since we started doing it. I can't say anything better.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, look, credit the pitching staff because they've stayed strong. Like, yes, they gave up this streak of 4 runs or less that ended on Thursday night, but I mean, they bounced right back the next 3 days and continued to be strong. And so, from start to finish, whether it's the guy going out there and taking the ball at the beginning of the game, to those guys coming in the middle innings, to whoever's closing it out, this group has remained very, very consistent. And so, like, whether it's Vesia, whether it's Yarbrough, seeing Trinan come in, and again, just by the way, watching Blake Trinan, it's like watching a magician. Like how he makes the ball move.
I don't understand it.
I think Eric
literally
Karros
unhittable.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Karros was like, it's like hitting a wiffle ball, except he's doing it with a real baseball. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, no, and Greg, you mentioned something that I liked. The getting out of innings, even in tough situations. Walker had a situation, I think it was in the 5th, where there was a little muff in the infield. It might have been Vargas, forgive me if I'm wrong. And there was a couple guys on bases, and Walker got out of it. Kind of something that he used to thrive on. But whereas he used to power through that hitter with the fastball, where he was like, I'm going to get out of this by just overpowering that hitter. And now he's focusing more on the command. And that's super exciting to see that just the pitching staff in general is kind of leaning towards that, outside of a few guys. Like I'm sure when Bobby's back, we know how he is, flamethrower. But we're getting depth and we're getting long innings from the starters, and the bullpen is still doing their thing, even when some of the main guys are injured. So Dodgers baseball, it's all good in La La Land right now. There's still a lot. Yeah. There's, what was it? I mean, some conversations about there's nothing negative being said around the dugout, excuse me. And that's good.
It's good.
Can't ask for anything more in May, towards the end of May.
Right. It's May. So, but you should be feeling good right now, especially when you have a big old lead in the division. I don't even know what it is anymore. I didn't look this
7.5.
7.5. So still 7.5. Yeah, no, that's great. So like you're ahead of everybody. They're not going to catch you. There's no reason to. So yeah, everything should be feeling good, but it should be a time for reflection and find those little things that are wrong and try and tweak things. And that's what guys like Mookie Betts are doing. We just talked about Walker Buehler and how he wanted to be listened to people. Mookie is coming out today. I'm sure you saw it, Marcus. I know you did. When it came, he said, I suck right now. Like I suck at shortstop. Yep. He's trying to find those little things that can help keep him motivated. This is what's going to push me to be better, because you just don't want to get complacent. I love the fact that they're not getting complacent.
No, I think it's great too. I mean, to that point, by the way, there was a little moment, it was yesterday, I think it was, where there was some confusion in the outfield between Andy Pages and Miguel Vargas. And the broadcast made it a point to point out that between innings, you had Teo Hernandez talking to Pages and Jason Hayward, like kind of talking to him about like, hey, look, you're the center fielder. You've got to take charge here. And just sort of like, not berating him, but just kind of letting him know like, hey, look, it sort of worked out, but in the future, this is what you can do to get better. And I think these are the little tweaks this team is going to be making from now until then. I also think it's funny that, this time a month ago, they had like a 1-game lead in the division. Everybody's like, what's wrong with the Dodgers? And now they have the largest lead of any team in baseball right now. So.
The sky was falling at one point, guys. The sky was falling.
Oh, yeah.
I have it down here somewhere in the rundown where we had the whole conversation about after 21 games, the Dodgers records since 2013. It was like all these records close to 500 or so. It's the Dodgers. It's Dodgers baseball. It's how the seasons generally go.
They were like 11-9, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
People like, "Is Shohei worth the money?" Like, let's pump the brakes, folks.
I know. And speaking of that, after this weekend, the showcase of what we saw from his basically sellout crowd bobblehead night to the walk-off was this weekend. Essentially, what solidified Otani as just, he's Dodger now. Like, you basically saw the 10 years go through your head after watching this weekend. That's kind of how I felt. Originally, yes, they were playing great. Everything looked good. Otani is who Otani is. But when I started to hear things like Dave Roberts saying he's going to be a better hitter, oh, dear Lord. He's going to be, he's what is he, leading the league in WAR alongside Mookie and Kyle Tucker as a DH?
Yeah, that's
all these things. Is this officially like, we're not going to take this for granted. We now have, the best player in baseball on the squad? Or did you already come to this realization, Greg?
No, so I did. I mean, he's
Exactly,
been a
yeah.
Dodger for quite some time. Every time you see him come up to the plate and just mash home runs or get these crazy doubles on pitches that were outside the plate, and he just kind of reached out and had enough power to put it into a corner. The guy is just absolutely incredible. So it was nice to see all those things, and yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm just happy he's on this team, and I see you can see what he's going to bring to him overall. I mean, officially a Dodger. How do you say when he's officially a Dodger? When he signs or when he wins a World Series? I mean,
Right.
what is the level that we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do think that was this weekend was a big, like, plant the flag moment, I guess, to have that moment where he gets the walk off, right, and they're dumping bottles of water on him in the outfield or whatever, and they kind of had that celebration. I mean, I guess I don't know. Either way, I'm still amazed watching him every day and seeing exactly how good this guy is, and just seeing the little things, right? Like, I mean, obviously the power is amazing. Him putting the ball in play is amazing, but things like base running, right? Like how fast he is and how aggressive he can be and how good he can be as a base runner is sort of amazing to me. It's all these little things that look, I know he was in Anaheim, right? But not watching him as closely then as I am now, it is just sort of mind-boggling. By the way, I'm cruising eBay right now, and the bobbleheads from the giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Are going anywhere from about $250 up to $400 that I can see.
That's ridiculous to me. First of all, it's a bobblehead. He's going to have like 40 of them in his 10 years. There's another bobblehead night later on this year for him. He's going to have another one.
Okay.
Why are we going the lines to get in were insane.
Here's one, because I know because most of them were just the home white jerseys, right? But there were a few road grays sprinkled in, like that was kind of the Easter egg or whatever. I find one of the road grays on here for $2,500.
Yeah, that's why they got there early, just to try and get that. It's amazing, and I bet you in the park too, people were being like, "Hey, I'll give you $100 for that right now."
I saw tweets about it. I saw tweets about people making deals in the ballpark to try and get the bobblehead.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, people were making.
Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
I was saying people were making Clayton Kershaw bobblehead nights. I've had people being like, "Hey, I'll give you $20 for this right now." This one, this way more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, and this isn't the red review, but I'm pretty sure that the Angels' highest selling game so far has been like a Logan O'Hoppe bobblehead. People just go crazy. People go crazy for bobbleheads. Also, by the way, I looked up Otani's first walk-off. Ironically, it was like the exact same hit, but you know what was funny? It was September 4th, 2020, and the Angels won. He brought Trout in the bottom of the 11th, but the first comment was, "Yay, only 8 games under 500."
Yay, just 8 games above everybody else in the division.
Hey, for the record, by the way, the Logan O'Hoppe bobblehead on eBay is right around $30. So
Let's go.
There you go.
There you go, Parker. You can spend a good $30 there.
Yeah, I'll have to. Also, we got to shout it out on the Blue Review real quick. Welcome back, Jay Hay. Came back home run on his first day. Nice. What does that bring? Real quick, we'll kind of end here. What does that bring to the bottom of the lineup, Greg? Where are we in terms of? I know that the average still. I have to double check for you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's still bottom of the league when it comes to like the 6 through 9 guys.
It's going to take time.
Yeah. Time. That's all we're going to look at.
Yeah, it's going to take time for that batting average to come up. Jay Hay, hopefully, he can just bring a little bit of veteran presence and a couple good hits here and there. If he can bat like 250, have some home runs, drive in a couple of guys that are like, if he's in the bottom of the lineup, if he's hitting 7th, let's say, and they bring in that Max Muncy and Teoscar Hernandez, if they happen to be on base, that'll really, really help out the bottom of the lineup. It's most of the time you're getting guys on, the 1 through 6 are getting on, and then the bottom just says, "Oh, that's it, out." Also, I mean, I think it's lineup construction too. I think we saw a weird lineup on that Thursday game. It's just awful. So I think it's just a little bit. Hopefully Jay Hay can come in and just be a stabilizing presence for that. He's not going to be crazy. He's not being great. He's not going to be the level of Shohei and Mookie and Freddie. But as long as he can just keep the line moving.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this, and we didn't really get into it. I know we're short on time, but with Max Muncy on the IL for a little bit too, they're going to have to kind of mix and match, find some guys to take those key at bats in the middle of the lineup too. I guess right now it looks like Pages kind of taking a lot of that spot, which I'm currently okay with.
Yeah, let's talk more about Pages tomorrow because he's an interesting character.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, we had quite a laser shot over the weekend, but also some other things there. So we'll get into that tomorrow. We will get into, of course, Yamamoto's performance. He's up against the Diamondbacks tonight. So we'll react to that, of course, at 9:30 with the Blue Review. I believe we might have our guest, Jeff Spiegel from the Dodger Blue with us,
Maybe.
but don't take, we'll see. Marcus, if you can join us, as
I will do
always,
my
we'd love to
best.
have you here.
Will do my best.
But thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning into the Blue Review. Thank you to the LAX. Everyone, we'll be back again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat cave. This has been Parker Bell alongside Corporate Greg and Marcus Grant.